Okay, hear me out. Most people buy houses at the worst possible time and they don't even realize it. So what's the best and the worst time to buy a house during the year? You're gonna be surprised, but the worst time to buy a house is actually the spring market. And look, sure enough, this is the most important time of the year for real estate. Because if the real estate market fizzles out during the spring, it can almost set a whole precedent for the remainder of the year. Because there's way more activity, the weather's pretty nice, and families wanna move, and in a way, there is a lot more inventory during the spring. But here's the thing, guys, you also get a ton of competition from a lot of buyers because most apartment leases tend to end during April and May. So you also get an influx of first-time home buyers who were renting and now they want to buy a house. But also you get a lot of people who get their tax refund check and they look to use that to be able to put a down payment on a house. So in other words, the spring is probably the worst housing market if you're trying to get a good deal as a home buyer. With that said, when is the best time to buy a house? Okay, check this out. Recent studies show that one of the strongest buyer windows is actually mid-October through November, because that's when inventory is really high and competition drops and prices actually get to dip a little bit. But if you want to get really specific, this study by Realtor.com showed that October 12th through the 18th is the best week of the year to buy a house. But okay, what if you missed October? That's totally cool because December is a sleeper month and it's another great time to buy a house. Listen, in my 13 years of doing mortgages, I've seen more deals get done at the end of the year than any other time, and here are a few reasons why. The first one is investors want to sell for tax reasons before December 31st. Also, you get a lot of home sellers who want to start fresh at the beginning of the year, so they too would be more inclined to sell before December 31st. And there's not much competition between home buyers because think about it. Most people go out of town to spend time with the families for the holidays, or they're just simply thinking about the holidays, not so much about having to buy a house and having to move into it, especially if you live in a cold state and it's snowing and it's cold. Nobody wants to move when it's a blizzard out there. So obviously competition goes down. But here's the other thing. You get a lot of home sellers who had their homes listed for a while and they get a little bit antsy and they want to sell their homes before end of the year. So guess what happens? They tend to drop those prices just a little bit more. Oh, and one last thing, historically speaking, interest rates tend to dip just a little bit towards the end of the year. So there you guys go. Keep this in mind if you want to buy a house in the future. And as always, if you have any questions about home buying, make sure that you comment in this video or send me a DM.